Teste, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Teste, 1, 2, 3. Teste 2, 1, 2, 3. Teste 3, 1, 2, 3. Teste. Teste, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Teste, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Olá, boa tarde. Okay, so can I ask you to put headphones on, please? Se puderem pôr os auscultadores. Okay. So, okay, let's begin. You should have the you need the headphones. You all need headphones. Okay, so good afternoon to all of you. Boa tarde para aqueles que nos estão a seguir remotamente desde o pavilhão de Portugal aqui na COP29. My name is Francisco Ferreira. I'm the president of Zero, and this is one of the 3 events that we will promote during this COP. And today, actually, due to the theme of the day related with youth and the next generation, we will actually talk about the shared tomorrow, intergenerational justice and climate action. We will have basically a keynote speaker and then a small discussion between some of our guests. But you know, I'm just here to basically thank you for participating as president of Zero, a Portuguese environmental NGO, quite active on climate. But I will pass on directly to Pega Molana. She's the Secretary General of Youth and Environment Europe, and she will be the one that will drive us through the next half an hour, 40 minutes with both the keynote speaker and myself and others in the debate. Thank you. So Pega, please.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for taking the time to join our side event. I can assure you it is one that will never be forgotten about, since we will have young people with us, but also experts that have been working on intergenerational justice. So thank you very much for being here. I would like to first, if I may, introduce our panelists to take their seats. And then I will invite our keynote speaker who will be taking the floor to start the meeting, if that's okay with you. So can I invite Mariana Marashin, who is Executive Director of Youth Climate Leaders. Thank you very much. Please take your seat wherever you like. Thank you for joining us. And I would like to invite Pedro Sereno. Pedro, thank you very much for joining us again. So thank you for giving us this time. And last but not least, I would like to invite Francisco, I am very sorry about the names. I will get used to it. But yeah, please join us here. Thank you so much for joining us. And last but not least, I would like to invite Antonio Diaz Aranda to open this panel with a keynote speech. Take it away, please.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today and for having me. 2 years ago, I had the privilege of representing my country, Mexico, at the most important climate change event in the world, the Conference of the Parties, as a lead negotiator. And it was my first COP, and I was assigned an advisor. Saul was his name, a man who had 3 times my years of work experience in the field, who had the mission of guide this enthusiastic but inexperienced youth throughout the process. We entered the negotiation room, and the first thing I felt when I saw the name of my country in front of me was fear. What if I'm not good enough? What if I fail? What if they did a mistake at choosing me? All the possible ifs came to my mind. But my advisor turned to me, hold me from the shoulder and said, "You got this. You have prepared yourself for this, and I got your back." Second week of negotiations, and we weren't coming to any agreement. At the beginning of the week, I turned back to Saul and told him, what if we propose something different? What if we work together on a new text? He was between intrigued, confused, and skeptic, But above all, he said 3 words that impacted my life until today, which were, I trust you. He could have said that's not going to work, he could have said that's nonsense or useless, but he decided to put on me one of the most important aspects we need for intergenerational justice, which was a vote of confidence. We worked overnight discussing and debating what was feasible and possible, me sharing the ideas and the vision of something new, and he provided his extensive experience to make it viable. We arrived the next day to the room with a determination to present it. What started as a small gathering turned out in a huddle with 30 negotiators around me. If I can describe that moment in one word, I will say panic. At one point, one of the most experienced negotiators turned to me and said, well, tell us what your proposal is about. And I instantly looked for my advisor desperately throughout the room, and he just said with his lip, you got this. Spoiler alert, at the end of the day, the proposal didn't make the cut. I was tired and demotivated. I was exhausted of all this process and all the work we put on it for nothing. I felt like a failure. The next day, speaking with Saul, he told me, I understand how you feel, but you did the most important thing, which is trying. That is more than most people ever dare. I turned back to him and just replied, yep, we made it. We made it together. The 3 main learnings I had from this experience that I want to share with you today are the following, and that are very important for intergenerational justice. The first one is the intergenerational collaboration. A collaboration in which we don't judge each other, in which we don't aim to bring us down, but rather to empower each other to work together for something meaningful. One in which we trust each other and we dare to try and to fail together, especially on climate change. This is not an idea of my planet or their planet, but it's our planet. Intergenerational justice involves allowing youth to be at the decision-making tables, proposing, experiencing, and learning with the support and guidance from those that have walked the same path. Young people between the ages of 15 and 25 constitute a fifth of the world's population. But in the area of political participation, in a third of countries, eligibility for national parliament starts at 25 years old or older. 1.65% of parliamentarians around the world are in their 20s, less than 2%, and 11.87% are in their 30s. So the average age of parliamentarians globally is 53 years old. What is the message that we are sending to the next generation? That youth is a nice quota, that youth are important for events, conferences, surveys, and panels, but don't you dare to dream to make decisions, because for that, you still need at least 20 years more of experience. We talk about empowerment, but we are still afraid of youth raising the voices at the most important decision-making tables around the world. And finally, my last learning was the importance of reflecting the long way we have come and see where we can improve. 28 COPs ago, it was almost unthinkable to see youth negotiators or youth representatives within the country's delegations. COPs were spaces restricted to senior decision makers, and look where we are now. But still, we have a long path to pave. I encourage you to think how you can incentivize intergenerational justice and collaboration within your own organizations. How you can bring youth voices to engage, collaborate, and impact at the highest levels possible. Because you never know what impact that might have on them. I come from a small state in Mexico, and I was always told not to dream big enough because it was unthinkable of having someone from there coming at this event, being a lead negotiator, and now driving a climate agenda. And if it wasn't for that man with way more than experience than me, who trusted me 2 years ago, I might not be here today. So finally, I don't expect the world to change in these 4 walls and in 2 weeks of negotiations. But I do hope that the people who are in this room today, organizations, activists, youth, we can change our own countries, our own societies together. Because that's the real value of being here, to collaborate on something bigger than us. To all my fellow youth activists gathered today, unfortunately, we will not be young forever. And one day we will be the experienced ones at the table. Let's give the next generation the opportunities we wish we could have had. Let's do better. For the adults, we understand your fear and concern. Youth are at times irreverent, unapologetic, and uncomfortable. But remember you were in our shoes and think about how you were, what you dream about, and how much you wish someone put that vote of confidence on you and support the youth around you to dare to dream and to fight for something bigger. Again, let's do better. And for all of the ones here today, we might not see the results of all the efforts we are doing today, but I can assure you that little by little, we are paving the way for the next generation. Let's do better than the ones before us, but most importantly, let's do better for the ones after us. Thank you.
Oh, perfect. It is on. Thank you very much, Antonio. I felt so inspired by you, and I think we all resonated to at least some sections of your speech, if not at all of it. And this is the purpose of our side event here, is to, look at the composition. It is the definition of intergenerational dialogue, and this is the purpose that we would like to convey. Before I go towards asking the questions, I would like to first inform you of what we are hoping to achieve during this side event. Intergenerational equity calls for a balance between the needs of the present and the rights of the future. And this includes asking questions. Can you hear me? It's okay. This includes asking questions as to how can we have better political institutions that incorporate intergenerational dialogue through their programs. It includes changing and amending our legal frameworks and ensuring that our human rights principles not only protects the present but also the future generations. And of course, it's about developing necessary frameworks and methodologies that... there is a sound in the background. Let's try now. Perfect, thank you. At least you can hear me now and you're not struggling so much. And of course, it's about developing necessary methodologies and socio-technical devices that are necessary in helping us in implementing these frameworks. And I cannot find a better panel than the current one that is in front of us to answer what are the current mechanisms that we can change and also push within national, local, but also on international level to help us implement this. So hopefully for the next COP, at least we've gone a bit forward into where we are in comparison to where we are now. So I would like to first provide, I would say, a quick introduction to our speakers, even though I did so, but I realized I did not introduce your organizations. And I think who better would introduce your organization than yourselves? So if I can ask you in a minute to summarize who you are, where are you from, and also what is your organization, that would be wonderful. Of course, there are many similar faces that we've seen, but I think it would be very fruitful. Can I start with, I can start with you, Francisco, and then we'll go down.
Okay, so my name is Francisco Ferreira. I'm the president of Zero, the Association for the Sustainability of the Earth System. It's a Portuguese environmental NGO, and we are the promoter of this event. But we're basically an organization where we really look forward to integrate the ideas and the actions for the next generations, and that's the reason why we're here discussing this.
So hello, I am Mariana Marasquim. I am from Brazil and I live in Portugal since 2017. And I am Executive Director of Youth Climate Leaders. It's an organization that works with education, opportunities and network on climate action to youth people that want to start to work in green jobs. And we already formed 1,500 youth people from Brazil and another 10 countries. And basically is that we work as much as we can have as much young people working in leadership careers to try to get the just transition that we need.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Pedro Sereno. I'm a manager at European Youth Energy Network, and I'm also in charge of our Energy Transition Careers Compass Task Force. Our main goal as European Youth Energy Network is to empower young people all over Europe, and this includes all the countries of the continent Europe, not only the European Commission, the ones involved in the European Union in this case, and at the same time give them the tools to pursue their careers in the renewable energy sector, and at the same time create spaces for them to speak and make sure that their voices are heard in the right meetings, in the right moments. And I'll keep it like this. I probably can add that we already represent more than 12 countries of Europe right now directly, and we have more than 20 associations that are part of our federation.
Thank you so much for also keeping it short and sweet, so we can actually elaborate a little bit more during the questions. We have two questions for you, but I will ask the first one, and if it's okay with you, I will randomly choose a speaker. You have the option to respond to the previous speaker or provide your own responses. And after the questions, I will open the floor to you to ask any questions that you have to our speakers as well. So hopefully we will be able to get as many questions as possible from you as well. So already start thinking about it, please. So I have the first question, which I will read out. If I go too fast, please let me know. The question is, what are the specific challenges and opportunities for implementing intergenerational justice, at the global, European, or national levels? So basically, what are the challenges and opportunities, either on national, local, or on a European level? Sorry about that. I would like to start with Pedro. Pedro, please take the floor.
Well, there are lots of challenges, and I'll try to keep it brief, and maybe focus on the ones that we at AN are addressing right now. Trying to create, well, a logical train of thoughts. I would start by the capacity building. I was speaking about it in the previous panel, and I think it's also very important to highlight this moment. I was having a discussion between panels, actually, and I agree, and I didn't mention something that is very, very important. So there needs to be a shared responsibility, especially for youth. So from one end, we need to be heard, and we usually in several forums, we are trying to be part of the discussions, we are trying to keep up with the discussions, but at the same time, youth also has to prepare those discussions and bring meaningful contribution to those discussions. So here, I think that we need to focus a lot on those two specific topics. That being said, I think that the, well, more experienced people, let's call it like that, also need to make sure that youth has the tools to be participants on those specific moments and acquire the skills that they need to be present and bring meaningful contributions to those discussions. And we feel that's really, really important. That's point one. Point two is funding. As you can imagine, youth organizations usually struggle a lot to make sure they have the correct fundings to participate in all the meaningful events that we have across Europe and across the globe. We try to engage, and speaking more specifically about AN again, we try to engage in all the countries where we have people living, but we know that sometimes that's not enough to make sure that we have a complete picture and a big picture of everything that's going on across Europe. So in that sense, we usually struggle a lot, not only with finding the right funding moments to apply, but at the same time with the applications themselves. I know that there is European funding. I do it at the company where I work for. But for youth organizations, that usually has lots of bureaucracies, lots of extra steps that are not really necessary for this specific European funding. So my advice here would be, let's control better later. Let's make sure that people are delivering what they need to deliver with what they promised previously, and let's reduce the bureaucracy previously on the moment of the application. And I think that the other panelists will speak also about other about these topics. So I'll keep it at capacity building and as well funding for youth.
Thank you very much. Mariana,
Okay, it's a very good question. I totally agree with Pedro, capacity building, funding, but I can't honestly talking about intergenerational justice without talking about intrageneration justice. And we need to must attention when we are talking about to protect the next generations, that we are the next generations that we would need to save like 30 years ago. I am 32, and when I was born, was the subject. So since more than 30 years, we are always talking that we need to preserve, that we need to try to restore and to have this justice for the next generation, but we are the generation. So I have this particular fear when we forget, then we need to have this intragenerational justice too. And one of the most barriers that I facing, and I agree totally with Pedro, is the funding, that the distribution of the funding. And when we are talking about Europe or United States, we are always, and I live in Europe since 7 years ago, we are always thinking that we are doing a great job, but mostly we are not. We are doing the needs that we need to do. We need to do much more. We need to preserve, we need to impact much more the South Global. We need to look for the South Global and the community to improve really, because it's not just us that need to be fine. We will be better if we improve the South Global too. So I think this is one of the barriers, is that sometimes we forgot, and I can tell you from my own experience, as I am 7 years in Portugal, for me it's like unimaginable that some person can't have a mobile to work. So I have a new person work with me in Brazil, because I am coordinating Brazil too. And someday I asked to him to take some photos in some event, and he answered me, sorry, but I can't take photos because my smartphone, it's broken, the camera, and I will do in this event, but I can't take this photo, and I will need to ask to someone, because I can't buy another smartphone. That for us in Europe costs like, I don't know, 100 euros, and we can buy. And how can I tell to him, no, it's okay, we will figure out that. So this is the small things that we can take care and look. We need to improve the South Global to be better here and to be safe here, because as much as we have this inequality, as much we ask unprotected here. So to start, it's something like that, so we can talk a little bit more after.
Okay, from my side, I'd say that actually for me the main problem of intergenerational work together, and I think Antonio really explained it quite well, is this idea of having a fully open-minded spirit to actually believe, respect, turn the responsibility from one another, meaning that responsibility is equal for the different generations. You just need to give the opportunities, and those opportunities, as some of the numbers were clear, are far from what we really require and need. So when you come from local politics to national politics or even the COPs, you see that all these negotiations, indeed, they are very how should I say, picky in many terms, in terms of the text that you elaborate and the diplomacy and everything. But again, we need to be much more concrete and actually translate that into action. And I think that what the younger generation actually passes on is that need of urgency, that need of debureaucratization, basically, going much straightforward. If we really need to have policies in place for, going over inequality within the same generation or between generations and the different parts of the planet. So I really think that the priority is to take away a feeling that I always have of being the father or the mother of the young people, where you just don't treat the different generations as equal partners. So besides the funding, besides the bureaucratic issues that were mentioned, I think that a really important issue is the promotion of the role and responsibility in equality between the generations. And that is just not something that you make in a decree law. It's something that you really have to change in your mind to translate that into practice.
Thank you so much. From what I took away from your interventions is that the challenges are within the bracket of structural challenges. There are many structural challenges that prevents intergenerational justice to actually be implementable. There is also this cultural gap, I would say, that we have, that, for instance, the dialogue between youth is not going to be meaningful. They are not yet ready. They're not even ready to vote unless they are 18. So there are many aspects that culturally we need to shift the mindsets, but also on a policy framework. So there are many elements that we need to guarantee. For instance, Pedro mentioned that we need to simplify many of the processes, just because this creates an exclusionist nature, which also prevents intra-generational justice as well. So thank you so much for that. Then I would like to, maybe, Francisco, you mentioned something about the national governments, and this is my question to you. What should the national governments do to promote intergenerational justice and intergenerational dialogue, especially on a national level? I think this is the biggest important, because all of us belong to a country. All of us have access, I hope, to our officials, our members of parliament, to our ministries. All we are trying. I want you to give them a tip or two also on what they should be promoting as well. So what should national governments focus? And if you have any tip for the audience who are present here. I will start with you, Mariana, if that's okay.
I think if you were talking about Portugal mainly, we need to improve as fast and as much as we can the transition to the employers that work on the sector that we must stop. So we need to start to look more carefully for this for the youth and all the aides that are working in the sectors that we need to make this transition. And I think we have many programs happening, and they are good programs, but we need to make more effort on that, because as I am from a background that I can see that if we are an employer that receives a salary of 1,000 euros, it's impossible to keep alive now in Portugal, for example. So we are seeing the prices increasing, and we are seeing all this politics push the government to this transition, and we are not prepared. So as much as we can make this effort to have more dignity for the workers, this is one of the things that I really really would like to be part and trying to figure out together. And the other thing is this cross-related with the other governments and other countries, because sometimes I feel like we were in another panel, and I feel like, imagine the panelist is from Australia, and in Australia they have a totally different approach, and we can understand what they are doing to try to make something similar. So we need to, as much as we can, work together with the different perspectives, because for me and for the people who is nearby me, we start sometimes to just think, okay, we have the reason, we know what we're doing, let's do. But if you look for the sides, for the other sides, and we can see, okay, they are doing a great job, let's try to work with them. They are not doing so great time, let's change the way. So I think these two things, locally in Portugal, we need to put much more effort, and we need to work more with other perspectives, and mainly global South, because they have much resilience to show us, and we can learn with them too.
Thank you very much. Then I will reshuffle the order. I would say, Francisco, can you please answer that question?
What I think is shocking and it works, it's to give numbers. And so my tip is exactly to give numbers. How is the, how many, I'm completely in line with Antonio when he said, okay, what is the percentage of parliamentarians that we have in Europe or in the world that belong to the younger generation. So I think that if we actually give numbers on the decisions, the amount of decisions, the quality of the decisions, the number of youth members that actually participate in the policy processes, that would help not only for the institutions to actually work on a feedback basis to actually promote the need to improve the participation of younger generations, but at the same time give all the support for it. But it will actually apply to the younger generations to see, look, here is the opportunity, here is my opportunity, my duty to actually go forward and learn and work and make the partnerships with the different stakeholders, with the different, acting as real negotiators in the different environments. So that's if we would publish some of these numbers in through the social media, in the general media, I think a lot of people would actually would think about a strategy and to change their way of acting and decide based on how far we are from what would be a much greater participation of youth.
Thank you very much. And Pedro?
So in my previous intervention, I was speaking about capacity building and funding, and I think those are the main two ingredients for the next step, that is the actual listening moments for all the stakeholders involved. Francisco was mentioning that, and I think that's important that we start thinking about before every decision, or at least before every major decision. I know that we elect parliamentarians to represent different realities from each specific country, but at the same time, different stakeholders must be heard, and I mean different stakeholders from every types of age, from all the experiences that are available. And I had this experience in the past. When I was part of a student union, every decision that was made by the rector, and we were lucky for this to happen, he usually heard all the staff, the professors, and the students, because they were the three big stakeholders on their reality. So we truly believe that this should also happen at a local level, regional level, national level, European level, global level. And there are people interested in doing that. There are people that are good to do that, as long as they have the capacities and they have the funding necessary to attend those moments. Again, remember that you does not have the same access that usually people that are working in companies or working in governments to be on these forums. So remember to hear them, you'll be surprised. Some of the best, brilliant people that I've heard speaking, they are young people. As well, I always think that there should be a mix of opinions for more experienced people to balance. We youth sometimes are not yet traumatized with the experience of the reality of trying to implement measures. But again, I think that getting the fresh view of young people in these moments balanced with the more experienced view can only benefit everyone that participates in these moments.
Thank you so much. I really feel inspired by you all and what you have mentioned. And when you say about the most amazing speakers are young people, we had one already, Antonio. So we had the first-hand experience of an amazing young speaker. So great job, and I think we all resonate with that. But I think personally, I do not want to take more time. But I will speak closer. Does anyone want to ask any questions to our panelists now? And if you do, please direct it to one speaker only, as we are running short on time, but I still want to give the floor to you. And there is no silly question here, so please give it a go if you would like. Can I have the mic there, please? And please introduce yourself if possible.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is James. I'm from Ghana, and I've been following your conversation, I must say. It's very educative. The topic on intergenerational justice and climate action, I want to ask a question from the panelists regarding their preparedness, in as much as young people should be given the opportunity to be at the center stage of decision making and order. What is the level of capacity building, the ability? So we just don't want young people, but we just want people who can effectively contribute to policy decision making. So what is the panelist take on the readiness of young people to be able to positively impact on issues that will determine their future?
Thank you very much. I personally think, Pedro, do you think this question belongs to you? Or if you are not comfortable, please tell me.
Sure, I can give my take on it. This is a very hard to answer question, at least for me, because I think it must be very tailor-made. So you know that every topic, every specific decision that is being made, it can affect different type or different areas of the population or of the communities, and at different levels of the intervention of the communities, you can find people with more that had more opportunities in their lives, and people that didn't have the same opportunities in their lives. So depending on the area that you are speaking of, on those preparedness of the population, I'll make sure that people are still heard, but again, are given the possibilities. If we are speaking about the environment on a specific neighborhood, for example, make sure that you hear the people that have the biggest struggles. They might not be the ones more prepared to verbalize those specific needs, but they are probably the ones needing it the most. So I'll try to tailor-made the specific capacity building for each situation, making sure that everybody can be heard in the correct way and express themselves in the better way possible. And at the same time, try to empathize with them, try to put yourself in their shoes, because that will make the conversation and the dialogue way better between both sides.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Pedro. Do we have any other questions? Otherwise, I suggest we, I don't know why it stops at some point, but that's fine. Perfect. Thank you very much for your technical help. Then I suggest we move on to the closing, as we are running out of time, and I know you have many other things to do. I would like to maybe, if I can, and I know I'm playing with fire here, but do you have any message to leave to our audience here? One point that you really want to stress out, that maybe it wasn't covered in the questions. If you do, you really don't have to, but I think it's really very, very precious to get this expertise from you. Feel free, please.
Okay. It's impossible to have intergenerational justice without taking note, paying much attention in development goals. So we must to reduce our consumption. We must to make a policy to the redistribution of the food. We need to stop to put too much pressure in the earth. So the international intergenerational justice is just will started when we realized again, as I was saying in the first, that we are not doing our best. We need to do more. All of us, all of places. So we really need to do best better than we are doing. It's just my message. I think here we are doing a great job. Like here we are trying to make the policies, we're trying to make difference, but we need to pressure more and more the politics, the governments, the companies mainly, like how many companies here, the fossil fuel companies here, we need to pressure them to make this transition. So we are doing our best, of course, but as a society, as a globally, we are not. We can't forget this. This is my.
Yeah, mine is quite short. Is basically, let's assume our responsibilities, all of us in the different generations, and let's act. I think that we have a lot of speeches and a lot of intentions, but we're lacking the implementation, and that crosses everything, from climate action to all the sustainable development goals. So we have opportunities where we should take our time, dedicate ourselves, assume again our responsibilities, and be happy. I think that one of the issues is that if we actually understand how important is our life and our planet, we will look at all these conversations in a quite different perspective.
Well, I agree with what you both said. I will just add, bring all the stakeholders to the table. I mean, we've been able to analyze, and the main conclusion I'm taking from all the sessions that we are having here across at least the Portuguese pavilion is that everybody is interested in joining, everybody is interested in contributing. So bring everybody to the table, either it is an NGO, the private sector, the populations, youth, women. Bring everybody to the discussion, make sure we involve them and implement what is being discussed, obviously, on these moments.
Thank you so much. And here I would like to start closing this panel. First, I want to thank you for being here with us, and it gave us a lot of joy because we were worried that there are so many people who will be busy and there will be low attendance. So I'm very happy that you're here. And maybe I would like to just give a reminder that whilst we talk about intergenerational justice in a very conceptual, fictional, long-term discussion, we are struggling right now. COP has not implemented intergenerational justice at all in any framework, and I would like to thank the Portuguese delegation for giving this space to us at least, and for making us heard. Let's fight for it, and at least I hope I will feel a little bit of intergenerational justice during this COP, but I think it will be hard, but I think we all live for hope. And with that, I would like to thank our speakers, and if that's okay with you, let's give them a round of applause for making this time, and also for yourself for being here with us. So thank you very much, and have a great rest of COP.